Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unwritten Club, a quiet corner of timeless talks where we explore the stories that linger long after the last page. So, The Nightingale from Kristin Hannah. You guys, I did a review on the Unwritten Club page already on her book, The Woman, which had me in tears within the first few pages. And that's when I started falling in love with her writing. Um, so I saw a lot of people recommending The Nightingale before I even saw The Woman. But for some reason, I was pulled towards The Woman first. Because my honest opinion, I think if I read The Nightingale first, I probably wouldn't have fallen in love with her writing as quickly and as much as when I read The Woman first. So, disclaimer, it will contain spoilers this episode. So please, again, if The Nightingale is still in your to be read list, please hop along or read along rather and join me or come back to listen to this episode and give me your thoughts. So, The Nightingale it's like a historical, I want to say, fiction book, which is actually my first time reading something like that apart from The Woman now. Um, it's set in Nazi occupied France during World War II, and they follow two sisters, Vianne and Isabelle. And like you guys, day and night, completely different sisters. Born in France, Vianne is this kind, gentle, family orientated person, and Isabel is the strong willed go getter of a woman. So, as the war unfolds, you follow this journey of where the war takes Vianne and Isabel. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing Vianne properly, but in my brain, in the little bit of French that I know, I would say that's how we pronounce it. But yes, I'm getting off track here. So you follow them. And you guys, firstly, I don't know if it's just this book the beginning was so tough to read just because I couldn't imagine how it must have felt to live in a time like that. And I sometimes while reading it, I was like, I wonder what I would have been. Am I more of a Vianne or Isabel? But so it comes down to the war is now happening, and Vianne's husband has been shipped off to war to go fight for his country, and her young daughter are left behind. And Isabel gets kicked out of another school and ends up with her dad in Paris. And her dad then, as the shit hits the fan, if you want to put it that way, he tells her to go to her sister, where she meets, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, Gaitan. And it's like this whole love at first sight almost for her. And she's like, this is the love of her life. They meet, end up at her sister. He abandons or leaves her there. And they go about figuring out how to live with a German soldier that moved in with them for the duration of the war. So we follow their journey of how they go about and survive their day to day. And then eventually, Isabel always said that she's meant to do more for her country, and she joins the French resistance. Isabel joins the French resistance, and she takes this role of woman who the Germans at the time was like, what can a woman do during the war? She goes, so she's like this ghost in the night where she tries to spread the word of everything going on. And Vianne is the quiet one, just basically trying to survive. She's just trying to survive this war with her daughter, with this German shacking up with them. So another thing that I really enjoy with Kristin's books is that the lead and the hero of the main character of the book is always female driven, which is very nice. As everyone knows, we all love a heroine. So I like how they redefine bravery in the Nightingale because we tend to think bravery is linked to being like battlefield soldier, walking in the front of a protest, being the loudest. But it's not always that. Yes, you can have a voice at the end of the day and voice or not be silenced, but you can still do it in a way where you, like Vianne, for example, she did it in a way of just surviving, helping out in the quiet, and protecting and in enduring. Where Isabelle was a bit more of, she spoke her mind, she 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 stood up for what she believes in. So it gave us that nice perspective of both loud bravery and soft bravery. And I mean, there's a part where Vianne realizes she can't save everyone. And I mean, she saw her best friend's daughter get shot in front of her. I mean, whoa. But she says, if I have learned anything in this long life of mine, it is this. In love, we find out who we want to be. In war, we find out who we are. Now, I've I've heard a few stories and read a few books and watched a few movies, which I guess isn't really 100% accurate, but war changes a person. And I would actually love to hear everyone's thoughts on this. Um, but that sentence, it hits you so deeply because it can be linked to life as well. I mean, we're constantly being tested in life, especially lately, I feel like. Whether it's through heartbreak, loss, change. And at the end of the day, through all of that, we get to learn who we really are and how we would react and how we walk out of situations, who we become from it. So, like I mentioned, this book, I really struggled, about half of the book I struggled to get into. I think it was a bit more of that 50-50 inside me where I got frustrated with Isabelle and that nerves of, oh my God, she's going to get caught and she's going to cause issues for her sister. But in the same sense, I was like, Vianne, can you just speak up, woman, and just do something instead of this sitting back and letting it all happen. Like, be there for your sister, stand up for your sister. But then halfway through, I was like, oh my God, I can't put this book down. Like, I need to know what's going to happen. And then we get to the end of this book. You guys. So obviously this book is told from someone's perspective. And me, honestly, I thought it was from Isabelle's throughout the whole thing but when I read that last part and I find out that Isabelle did not make it, and that her legacy, even through all of that, this the it's like she didn't really live to speak, to share her truth and share her part of the whole thing. But what she did, even though in silence, I mean, everyone knew her as the Nightingale, but that she left such an impact on the war. It's just, man, I was so sad when I want to tear up again. But like when I found out it wasn't her that was the one narrating the book. So that was a bit crappy, but I guess that's Kristin Hannah for you. She she hits you with a few surprises. And yeah, it just show you, it's one of those books that remind you of how much one life can unfold through grief, love, courage. It's like the full package. Guilt. I mean, if it's actually a book where you tend to put yourselves in their situations, or if imagine yourself in their scenario. And I think the guilt that Vianne must live with every single day, I don't know how she did that. It's it's probably gut-wrenching. But one line that I really loved in the book was, men tell stories, women get on with it. It's it captures everything about this book so nicely. It's this it really shares the invisible strength of a woman. I mean, if you've read the book, and like I I don't know if I would have been able to survive the war, you guys. Like, those people had to go, they went to hell and back, basically. So the Nightingale made me think a lot about resilience and how it's not always loud or visible, like I mentioned earlier. Sometimes I think just surviving and waking up the next day and trying just to survive the next day is a big form of resilience. And when Vianne goes to that Paris, like uh, uh, to celebrate Isabelle and Guyton, the love of Isabel's life, shows up as well. My word, you guys. And he named his daughter after her. Man, that's true love. Like, I'm sorry. If I was married to someone and I knew, I would be I would be pretty proud. But in the same way, I would also be like, man, I don't think he'll ever feel about me the way he felt about that woman, which is a bit scary and sad, but also so empowering at the same time. So, yes, you guys, like I said to you, this book it was good. Like, Kristin Hannah, well done. You did it again. Can't wait to read another one of her books. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts on the Nightingale. I definitely still prefer the woman, but the Nightingale was very good as well, you guys. So until the next page turns, keep reading, keep feeling, and keep writing your own unwritten story.